Assume that adults have IQ scores that are normally distributed with a mean of 107 and a standard deviation of 26. Find the first quartile, Q1, which is the IQ score separating the bottom 25% from the top 75%. So the first thing I want to do is recall that the bottom 25% of the data is below 25% and the top 75% is above Q1. So we want to convert 25% to a probability, which is 25%, which is equal to 0.25. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw a bell curve. Okay. So with this bell curve, we want to identify where the area is located. But before we do that, we can see that the mean is 107, so we're going to label where the mean is. Okay. And then now we're going to be able to then draw a line where we have the bottom 25%. So therefore, we're going to say that the shaded area that we're looking for represents the 0.25. So this represents 0.25. And what we're looking for is the x value here. Okay. And this area here represents the top, which would actually be 0.75. So what we want to do first is we want to be able to find the z-score. But to find a z-score, we know our mean is going to be 0, and we want to look for the z-score first to then find the value of x. So we need to find what is the z-score that's going to have the area to the left that represents 0.25. So we want to find the z-score that corresponds to the shaded area of 0.25, rounding it to 2 decimal places. So we're going to open up StatCrunch. We're going to go to Stat, Calculators, and then scroll to Normal. And then here what we're going to do is we want to make sure it's less than, because we want the area that's shaded to the left with the area that we found to be 0.25. And now let's go ahead and select that. So selecting Compute is going to give us our z-score. So if you can see here, we get the z-score of, rounded to 2 decimal places here, of negative 0.67. So this becomes negative 0.67. And now we're going to use that z-score along with the mean and the standard deviation to find the value of x. So we got the z-score associated with the position of quartile 1 to be negative 0.67. It does make sense because if you can see here, that z-score is to the left of 0, which it should be negative. And so to obtain the corresponding x value, we're going to substitute the mean to be 107, the z-score to be negative 0.67, and the standard deviation of 26 into the following formula, and then rounding it to 1 decimal place. So what we're going to do is the following. We're going to plug in the value of the mean, which is 107, plus the z-score, which is negative 0.67, times the standard deviation. So using order of operations, we're going to take negative 0.67 times 26, and then add 107, which gives us 89.6. And so therefore, up here, we're now going to say that the value of x is 89.6. Well, that number should be less than 107, so it is. So we would say the following. The first quartile is 89.6.